I'm WCIA3 meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Thanks for joining us right now live as we are going to talk about today's weather setup as well as take a look into the weekend. So as you're logging on, let me know where you're watching from and if you have any questions. Got a bit of talked about today with the snow squalls coming on through and snow showers. Not only today, but the chance for snow lasts into the weekend and early next week. We'll talk about all of that and more on this morning's web FastCast for you. Of course, we're streaming on our digital platforms. Download the WCIA3 weather app. You can get the latest alerts, updates, and forecasts at the tips of your fingers. We do these Facebook Live also, and we're on live on Periscope via Twitter and, of course, on YouTube. But most importantly, that app, a great way to stay connected as far as it goes. We'll give a couple shout-outs this morning before we get down to business. Let's check in with Keith, checking in Paxton. Good morning, Keith. Melissa, good morning in Arcola. Hope you're having a great start to your day. Chrisman checking in. Good morning to Peg there. And Michelle saying her daughter hit a snow squall on 74 this morning on the way to work. Already had a few this morning, kind of the appetizer to the main event that we're expecting as we go into midday, afternoon, and early evening hours here across central Illinois. This is what we expect with those snow squalls, what will happen. They had one come through Gibson City earlier. A brief burst of heavy snow happened, and that's what we anticipate to continue seeing out there. You can see off in the distance, there's a little blue sky sneaking on in a few spots. Other spots, though, you kind of has a little more of a spring look, if you ask me. Low cloud bases in a few places. That very much is what happens when we get a setup like we've got today. Quick check at Storm Tracker Doppler right now. Most of the snow right now is now along the Highway 51 corridor. Some of these individual cells, these snow showers are pushing to the north through Ford, Livingston, Iroquois, and McLean County. Very spotty in nature. Almost looks like someone were to take a brush with wet paint and just splatter it on the radar. That's how these setups are, very random in nature. It's not a full solid snow band like we see. They're very narrow, small is what will happen. This band in particular has my eye on Highway 51 from Hayworth to Clinton to Maroa, off to the east towards Friends Lake, down to Decatur and Moweaqua, and points to the south. A bit of heavier snow being indicated on there, so we'll watch it closely. And, of course, if you're in those areas getting heavy snow, would love to hear from you in the comments. Got some folks checking on in here. Some folks are saying they've had some of this already this morning. Further to the south, then, from Mattoon, Charleston, down Lakeland College, Neoga exit, Effingham, and points to the east, dry and quiet. But they still will have a chance to fill in some of these snow showers and some of these snow squalls as we go later on this morning into the afternoon. Here's where we're sitting temperature-wise. Let's set the stage for what the atmosphere is doing. We're sitting at freezing at the surface here, 32 in Champaign, 33 in Mattoon, and in Springfield, Decatur is at 34. When you talk about slick spots on roadways, yes, a few of those are possible. But because the ground's still a bit warm after our milder temperatures we've had, the slick spots is not the concern for impacts today. We'd need to really get down to 29 for the things to really rise up. That's what we typically see. Yes, some slick spots at 31 and even 30, but 29 is that magic number I've noticed over the years for bridges to have problems. So it's not the slick spots that are the greatest concern. Yes, there will be some, especially if you get in one of these snow bands as far as it goes. This is the forecast today. We'll hold pretty steady to where we are. Low, middle 30s. And so we'll watch it closely. These snow squalls, though, with breezy winds will be more of the story as far as it goes with impacts here moving forward. This is one of the things. So we're at freezing at the surface, but there's a lot of cold air, even colder air. We're actually using weather graphics that we would normally talk about during a severe weather event. This is atmospheric fuel. What it's called is CAPE, convective available potential energy. It's a way we measure instability in the atmosphere. This morning, there's really not much out there, but look what happens as we go into Friday afternoon and evening. You saw that quick surge. Let me back it up for you real quick and show you one more time what that looks like. Here we go. The quick surge really happens as we get into the late morning, early afternoon hours before things wind on down. That surge of instability is just enough to take this from being just a snow shower event. We're adding some vertical height to the clouds, which allows for better snow generation. It's a very interesting setup. Doesn't happen all that often. And so these snow squalls in the forecast today, as far as that goes here, with the instability in place. What is a snow squall? They happen. They're not all that common here in central Illinois, but today in particular is where we have to watch. They're sudden onsets. They happen quickly. You go from nothing to all of a sudden you get a quick burst of heavy snow, and that intense burst of snow often will come with some winds. There's some wind energy aloft in the atmosphere. You get one of these vertical snow showers, the cumulus clouds that rises up. It can help draw some of that wind down to the surface. It often will lead to localized areas of whiteout conditions. Yesterday, one of my favorite comments was, it's like a micro blizzard. That's exactly a way to describe it here. Normally, a blizzard is stretched over hundreds of miles, like they're getting in Iowa. These are narrow, localized snow bands of 5, 7 miles wide and 10, 20 miles long, if that even. And you get those whiteout conditions with them. They rapidly deteriorate the road conditions as well. Yes, when you get a snow band, there will be slick spots on there. More of problems, though, usually occur because visibility is so reduced to where you can't see that far in front of you. People, here's what my mom says. My mother always says, it's not you on the roadway I'm worried about, it's other people. That's what we're worried about here. Other drivers may not slow down in these reduced visibility areas, these snow bands, these snow squalls. And this is usually what happens when you see on the national news, in Pennsylvania or Minnesota or Wyoming and Colorado, those pile-up car collisions. They happen in snow squalls. So we're concerned mainly from travel perspective, from interest on the roadways, travel interest of what's going to happen. And the thing about these bands, too, is normally they last less than 2 hours. We've had folks in the comments and messaging this morning saying, hey, we had heavy snow for 10 minutes and it was gone. These snow bands, what will happen is they blow on through relatively quickly. If you get multiples of them or a little bit of a larger one, that's when you can have those higher accumulations. But in addition, because we've got vertical motion, we've increased the amount of snow we're generating in the clouds, the accumulation rates can actually be 1 to 2 inches per hour. So if that snow band sets over you for half an hour, you got half an inch of snow in a short period of time. So that's kind of the idea we're looking at here from a bit of a different event compared to a long duration wet snow event that we've seen before, kind of like that Monticello snow band that happened from Decatur to Cisco, Monticello to Bement. That type of event is different from what we're expecting today to blow on through. That was still a heavy event, don't get me wrong. All right, let's time it out on Future Track and talk about what goes on. It's picking up in some of those snow bands here. It's missing out on some, but the idea is that we'll see these random generated snow bands in spots, almost like throwing darts on a board. The better chance comes for us as we go into the afternoon hours, I think. From lunchtime, we'll say 12 o'clock till 9 p.m. for the most likely time for seeing these snow bands and snow squalls in the area. The chance will be they're area-wide, but they'll be more isolated in nature. It's not a wall-to-wall, everyone gets snow all the time. You'll get some snow, it'll go away. You might get another band and get some snow, it'll go away. Kind of back and forth with this here as we go on through the day. By tonight after 9 o'clock, things are trending a lot quieter as we head into the weekend. Here we go then. I want to show you the widely varying nature of these snow bands. If this is what we could see, and I'm not saying this is a forecast for Sidney, Tolono, Ivesdale, Sedora, Champaign, Urbana, but the general idea here is to give you a look at what can happen. We may have a band set up and give 1 to 2 inches in a spot, a narrow stretcher. That's maybe 5 miles wide and 10 or 15 miles long. Just down the road, if that happened in Sidney, Tolono may see nothing. And that could go anywhere here. Even in Champaign, Urbana, if we get a snow squall that comes on through, Champaign could get a quick half inch of snow. Urbana might not see anything. A very sharp cutoff with these types of events. You kind of get that idea here from this graphic. We're not against like this is our snow totals, but the idea where some localized areas seeing 1 to 2 inches, maybe even higher. I won't rule out a spot getting up to 3, if not a little higher, but that would be a very isolated spot. Would more than likely be not much more than a few square miles. So you think how small that area is here as far as it goes. So very widely varying, random dumping snow in these isolated spots is what we'll expect. The concern here is area-wide, though, for travel impacts. So we're at medium, and we're area-wide, but understanding it's isolated. It's not a widespread travel impacts from start to finish. You'll see these bands, and wherever they set up, that's where the problem will happen, and they'll move on through. But the potential is they're area-wide. And as we see here in the graphic, the quick burst of wet snow may cause travel issues and locally higher accumulation at times as we go through today into this evening. So it's just something to be aware of. If you're driving, you come across one of these heavy wet snow bands, slow down, pay attention, and you may end up in almost whiteout conditions from a heavy snow and gusty winds as it blows on through. So take extra precautions. precautions. The main concern is on higher speed roadways, your interstates, your rural highways, anything 40 miles an hour and above. If you can't see that far ahead, you may not be up in time if something happens in front of you. Again, like my mother says, it's not you we're worried about, it's the other drivers, because the other drivers are way worse, right? So we just want to raise awareness that, the roadways could have some issues here with these snow squalls, especially if we get a stronger band setting up over somewhere across central Illinois. We don't have any advisories in place today, and I don't really expect that. It's not a winter weather advisory type of an event. Those are all to our west for the most part, but a very active system, this low pressure rating. Blizzard warnings in place from Minnesota down to Iowa and far northwest Missouri, Des Moines to Omaha. They've had interstates shut down in South Dakota, South Minnesota, parts of Iowa, and even Nebraska. High wind alerts off to the west side, a lot drier on the west and south side of that low. The wind overlaps with the heaviest snow than where these alerts are. Here in central Illinois, though, no alerts on table. The closest we get is Madison County, the St. Louis suburb, having a winter weather advisory. There still could be issued. The one I'm particularly interested to see what happens is if we get one called a snow squall warning. If you've got your phone, how many times you've gotten either a tornado warning on it or an amber alert? It's that terrifying, wake you up in the middle of the night. So what I'm talking about, those wireless emergency alerts, if you heard them, that catch you off guard. Snow squall warnings actually will be issued through wireless emergency alerts. And there's a good reason for that. Wireless emergency alerts are geotagged. And so you get these alerts based on your location, whatever they are. There's 5 different types you can get. But the snow squall warnings in particular, if you're driving and a snow squall warning is issued in that area, you get that alert for that specific area. Not every snow squall will get one, but those heaviest ones will be the ones where maybe the chances that we get one. So we would rather tell you ahead of time what a snow squall warning is. And if you get the alert, you know what it is, rather than you see that and think, oh my gosh, what is that? That's kind of the message we're going at here with that. Just if you don't know what wireless emergency alerts are, there's 5 different types. They come through your phone. They're geo-specific. So they're based off the GPS chip connecting to your cell tower in the network. And there's the first one, the highest level is presidential alerts. If there's like a national emergency, a nuclear attack, that's what those are reserved for. Law enforcement alerts, you've probably gotten amber alerts on them before. They can also issue what's called a blue alert. If a law enforcement personnel is attacked by a violent subject and they're looking for him, they'll issue a blue alert. Emergency management will send them out, your local EMA office, if there's an evacuation notice or an immediate action notice. From evacuate from flooding or a dam breach or whatever the case may be. Sometimes they'll do that. Severe weather alerts, most common. You get them for tornado warnings. You get them for flash flood warnings. You can get them for tropical alerts too. But this last one here we rarely talk about. In fact, we've not had a snow squall alert issued since they brought them aboard the wireless emergency alert system back in 2018 and the National Weather Service adopted them. So an extreme winter event where a sudden whiteout conditions are likely, the idea is that can raise awareness for traffic on these roadways. If you get a snow squall alert and you're home, you're just fine. No problem. You don't have to go to the basement. You don't have to do anything like that. It's mainly for the travel interests where problems happen with these snow squall events. Your kids are going to love it. You get a snow squall, send them outside in it, let them play around in it a little bit. It'll be a pretty intense event for a little bit, and if you get lucky, you get enough snow, you can have a snowball fight from it. But that's what wireless emergency alerts are. We encourage everyone to have those on their phones, especially those weather alerts. Yes, for snow squall if you're driving, but really the tornado warnings, they'll wake you up. And that's important if you're sleeping and there's a tornado alert. We don't expect that today. Today's primarily focus is snow squall warnings for central Illinois. That's the forecast for today. Let's talk about after today. Today is the only day we've really expected this impactful snow as far as travel and slick spots are concerned. Yes, more snow possible into Saturday and Sunday. Yes, some slick there. But the rate of accumulation doesn't look high enough to where we'll have this blinding whiteout conditions. Here we are, 10 o'clock, the last of the snow on its way out. Saturday, then, we get some snow showers. There'll overall be light snow showers, maybe consistent flurries at best. We'll add a little accumulation. Then Sunday, the same story, another round of light snow showers, some light accumulation, and it will push on through. And then we may not be done as we go into Monday, Tuesday of next week. That's the thing we have to watch here as far as it goes. Our snowfall forecast for now, for the next 48 hours, still looks like this, and this does include today's, Saturday's, and Sunday's event. 1 to 2 inches area-wide with locally higher amounts expected, especially in this light blue corridor here along in South State 72. That's where these snow squalls could add an inch to 2 today alone, and then we add, half inch tomorrow, half inch on Sunday, where we could see some of those locally higher totals. South of I-70, lesser amounts. North of and along and north of Interstate 72, then we think we'll see some amounts with the best odds for 2 inches or more. Do I expect a 4 to 6 inch? Not at all. That doesn't seem like this is the case. We can't rule out a few localized spots, though, having 3, maybe up to, for lucky. There will be some spots, though, in the 1 to 2 inch range that may see less than that. So we'll have to wait and see how it shakes out. Today's event will be the one I think we'll get a better idea. We get past these snow squalls, we'll be able to refine the forecast for Saturday, Sunday, even a chance for Monday into Tuesday for snow. If you want more details on that, be sure and head on over to the WCIA3 weather app. We've got the full 7-day forecast. I'll be back at 9 o'clock on this. We have our 9 o'clock morning show, and then we'll have updates at noon. We probably will have someone in the field watching. We'll rely on your reports too, and we'll be keeping a close eye on traffic throughout the day. Running out of time here. I'll check the comments. Mac just walked back in. What time are you going on?
8:25. You got 3 minutes.
So I got 3 minutes to see if there's any questions. And if not, he's going to have a live news update. I'll have a live weather update then during the 9 o'clock show. So kind of peeking at things here real quick before we wrap it up. Chad saying it got blasted in Muncie. Would believe it. And Vermilion County. No snow when you started the truck. Came out and couldn't see the neighbors. That's what a snow squall is. They happen quick and come up on in. Heavy dusting, less than an inch in Paxton. Keith setting out. And Raphael checking in from St. Joseph. That's all the time we have. We'll be back at 9 o'clock on WCIA3, the morning show. We'll have updates at noon. Meteorologist Kevin Laddie will be in at 5, 6, 9, and 10. And download that WCIA3 weather app. You'll get the latest updates. You can even look at radar and see where those snow squalls are developing. Have a great rest of your Friday. We'll see you at 9 o'clock.